What do you want?
I want to stop He Who Remains.
No, wrong. Try again. What is it that you really want? Come on.
I want to save this. I want to save everything. All of it.
Is it really that hard? Come on, keep trying.
I want to save the TVA.
Why?
I want the TVA back.
And?
I want my friends back.
Endings in modern media are rare.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
I've talked about it in another video, but I'll repeat myself. We've traded stories with a beginning, a middle, and a conclusion for an endless conveyor belt of content. Studios don't want to lose their money printers, and many audiences, fandoms especially, no longer know how to live without an endless stream of content of their favorite things. And in my last video, I said how disappointed I was that we don't get endings anymore. All we do is get endless continuations. No one wants to stop the train. No one wants to create an ending. It's why the MCU right now is dragging every single legacy character it can for their stupid multiverse saga that I'm just tired of. I didn't want to see any more multiverse stories because I just didn't care anymore. I thought there was no point. I thought not even one could make me interested. And then I watched Loki Season 2.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Loki Season 2 feels like a completely different show from its first season, yet oddly enough works perfectly well with it, despite there being a giant jump in quality in relation to, well, literally everything about the series, but especially its writing. Supporting characters are given more depth, the lead characters are explored even further, and the overall themes, world building, and the conflict Loki Season 1 created that kind of felt like an overly complicated setup for the future multiverse movies and shows that the MCU wasn't really sure what it was going to do with at the time. All of that is turned into a poignant, stripped down season that takes the character of Loki and does something I never thought I would see again in the MCU after 2019. It willingly gives the character a definitive ending. Can and will we see Loki again? Yeah, sure, probably. We never know. Since 2013, the MCU has always tried to keep Loki around because he was one of the most popular characters. Whether it was giving him a fake-out death in Thor: The Dark World, even though they filmed an ending of him dying, but well, Tom Hiddleston's Comic-Con appearance was so popular they decided to reshoot it and bring him back, bringing in a variant from 2012 Avengers in the film Endgame, because even though he snapped his neck in Infinity War, we couldn't leave Loki out of the MCU. The MCU created beloved characters that nobody wanted to let go of in fear of what that absence would do to the universe. The few characters that have left the MCU left a hole that still hasn't been filled, especially with the new characters that can't seem to live up to the old ones. The more stories the MCU tries to tell, the more damage it does to its own brand. Till now, the biggest excitement people have for the MCU isn't even its own characters. It's for the legacy characters from the older Marvel properties that had nothing to do with the MCU that are now being brought back, because Disney has bought almost everything with Marvel in it and the key jingling is going into overdrive. But even then, that doesn't seem helping because at most, it just reminds people of the better stories and why they liked these characters in those stories. In many ways, Loki Season 2 intentionally or unintentionally encapsulates the very real problem the MCU has with itself. The universe created all those years ago is crumbling, and while there is a desperate attempt to keep it alive by desperate means, nothing seems to be working. Traveling into the past to find heroes that can help save them all from doom, but despite their best efforts, they just made things worse, and they couldn't go back to what they had before. The old system had too many flaws, the flaws that created the problems we have now. The lack of a system was destroying everything. They needed to find a middle ground. Loki was that bittersweet middle ground. Loki took control of the stories across the multiverse, no longer being able to be with the family and friends he wanted so desperately to be with. What Loki wanted since his first appearance was power, a glorious purpose to prove that he was worthy. But by the end, the power didn't matter to Loki. In the end, he already found the people who thought he was worthy, that relied on him, that saw him as a friend, a comrade, their loved one. That's why when he achieves the ultimate power to protect everyone, to control everything, the friends that know of his sacrifice, and his family across time and space that don't even know what he did, it's not a moment of celebration for the character. It's both the most heroic thing Loki has ever done, while also being possibly the saddest ending for the character as well. All Loki wanted was to be loved and to be with the people who loved him, and now he never will be. There is no daring last stand against the antagonist of the story. In fact, there is no antagonist in season 2 at all. I think this was the first MCU story in the entire MCU that had no real villain, no big bad to defeat. You had bad people, very bad people. But there was no villain. Loki saves the day, not with some cinematic giant battle in order to out-spectacle Endgame, but he wins by realizing that goodbyes, that endings are needed for life to continue. Loki ends the series, alone, possibly alone for all time, always. Yet through this journey and goodbye, we've seen him grow as a person, make friends, gain skills, learn lessons that haven't just made him a better person, it made the people and the world around him better. But what does this mean for the future of Loki, the future of the MCU? You can see across the internet that's all anyone is asking in regards to the series. How can this story give us more content and more content? And honestly, I don't think it matters. The series of Loki started off as part of this Disney Plus machine of creating content so more content can be born. Yet it ended as one of the most closed-loop stories in the entire MCU that took the unheard of risk in modern-day media by giving a beloved, popular character an ending. A respectful one that also tried to do more than just kill off the character or character assassinate him so some cheap knockoff can take his place. It even gave the MCU in Out with Kang by casually mentioning how the main MCU timeline, I'm not calling it Earth 616 Kevin, and neither is Amon, and I'm on her side, by saying the heroes already dealt with him on their own. Now, could this be a Kang variant? Could this be Kang the Conqueror from Ant-Man 3, How to Kill a Franchise? Maybe, possibly. Again, it doesn't matter. Part of the journey is the end, and no truer words have ever been spoken. No matter how or when the MCU does end, eventually it's going to end, because all things end. And no matter when that day comes, when it comes to Loki, I'm glad one of the best comic book movie characters was finally able to have his ending. Thank you, Tom Hiddleston, for 14 years of an amazing performance. And farewell, Loki. It's been a hell of a journey. Hey everyone, the strike is over. Struck Media is back in the menu and my mental health is ready for a beating. Thank you as always for watching this video, I really appreciate you. A little late with this one, life got in the way, but life always gets in the way. That's why every single time I announce something, I can hear my manager screaming from North Dakota. No, I don't live in North Dakota, neither does my manager, I just for some reason said North Dakota. Don't question me. If you have seen Loki, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you haven't seen Loki, get off your beautiful, beautiful ass and go watch it now. Also, before I end this video and go back to staring into the empty abyss that is my ADHD mind, or Richard and Madden infested mind, just letting y'all know the Knights of the Old Republic era video is done. It actually was supposed to be on the channel yesterday, but
shit happens.
Special shout out to Molly, Lola, M, Jason, the Kloei Boy, and the rest of you amazing Patreon supporters. Once again, thank you for supporting the channel, thank you for the views, hope to see you guys next time.